Hello, good evening, and welcome to Andy's Cavern. How are we all tonight? I've got a special treat for you tonight again. We've got Bob from Canada's Boxing Channel joining us for another interesting episode of Boxing Chat between Andy and Bob. How are we doing, Bob?
We're good. How are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I've got my lumberjack shirt on specially for tonight.
Oh, right on. Very Canadian.
I was expecting you to be dressed as a Mountie.
Well, I should have put all my snow gear on.
Oh, you're
So
snoozy. Are you well?
yeah, I'm good. I'm doing good. Yeah. Yeah, doing good. Looks like I managed to defeat the man cold that I was suffering a couple of days there. So I've managed to beat that back.
Did you get lots of sympathy from your good lady?
Sympathy was in short supply. It was apparently it's in the dictionaries, somewhere between shit and syphilis.
Man flu, they don't believe in it, do they?
There's no
Not
sympathy. They
recognized.
just haven't experienced the trauma that a severe man flu can lay a man down with.
They've got no idea how hard it is to be a man. That's what I'm
Oh,
saying.
no idea.
Good stuff. So more boxing chat tonight. I've been watching a wee bit the build up to Johnny Fisher and Dave Allen. I don't know what you've seen yourself, but Johnny Fisher's dad's having none of the gad. The gad has crossed the line, according to Big John Fisher.
I know, and apparently it's because the Gad had the temerity to say that he didn't think that Johnny Fisher won the first fight, which I mean, even a guide dog could tell you, a CNI dog could tell you that Dave Allen won the first fight. Like it was an easy fight to score. It was at best it was 50-50, and then you've got a 10-8 round. Like it wasn't controversial. But the Gad the other day, he was running around and he said he had security with him and he was looking over his back. He was making it all about himself. I don't know if there's any real beef here or between the families. Big John Fisher was saying, "You're not welcome in my house anymore." Um, I mean, I don't know what to make of that Big John Fisher, to be honest with you, besides the fact that he's a legendary eater.
And
But
sad thing is, I think he's going to eat himself into a hole. That's my fear. He comes across as a passionate family guy, but all that eating's that's no good for anybody, is it?
yeah, how old would he be? I think he's younger than I am.
Hmm.
Is he in his early 50s, mid
Yeah,
50s?
could be around my age. But the ironic,
I
the ironic,
mean,
the ironic thing is, people like us and on Porky's Corner and that, we're always criticising the Gad for being a licker and no, and then the one time he has an opinion that we would agree with, he gets shot down in flames, and it's like,
it
oh,
was
all goes
it's the
wrong.
only the only time I've ever heard Gareth A. Davis say anything against the A side fighter. And he was very mild. He wasn't even
Yeah,
controversial. And it was the only time he's shown even a scintilla of journalistic integrity. And he gets Big John Fisher coming down on him like the proverbial 500-pound whale, which
like an
which
avalanche.
may be quite accurate.
Yeah, I mean, you could see the Gad sitting backstage, building up. Right, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. Get myself together. I'm going to have an opinion of my own, and he has the opinion. It just
I know. It's 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 the most preposterous thing imaginable. And like I say, the other day at the press conference, uh, Gareth Davis was, you know, sort of alluding to the fact he had to have security with him. I mean,
did you
it's
see him?
just it's,
Did you see him sitting there? And any time that whoever was interviewing, I think it was Boxing King Media was interviewing him, and
yeah,
he's,
yes,
he's looking
yes.
at filling his nappy.
Now, now tell me, is it true? I mean, Porky on Porky's Corner was telling me that Johnny Fisher's dad is on some billboard on the M1 motorway,
I've
and
seen
advertising men's underwear? Please tell me that's not true.
I've seen the picture. He's lying on
No.
he's sprawled out on like a chaise long couch, only wearing a pair of black boxer shorts. But I think the advert's for some betting company. I think it's something to do with some. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe like Bet Now or something like that. But he's
Okay.
advertising for a betting company. But I don't know what the connection is with him lying on a sofa, pair of black boxer shorts, and then don't bet on him. Maybe I don't know.
Do me a favor. Do not send me that picture. I'll have to
No,
bleach my eyeballs if you send me that picture.
once you see it, you can't unsee it.
No, I don't want to see it.
I just looked with one eye.
No, it's I know some women I could send it to just to really offend them, but
Yeah,
you
they wouldn't
know,
like you for that.
I I can't well, I'm absolutely certain that nobody would pay to see me advertise anything like that. And I think I'm even though I'm not slim, I think I'm probably 200 pounds lighter than Big John Fisher. So no, a man should know his limitations.
It would, yeah, that's a good Clint Eastwood line. That
Yes,
man's
absolutely.
got to know his limitations. I tell
Now,
you what the best thing Johnny Fisher could do is move to somewhere like where you live, where it's quite remote and there's no Chinese takeaways anywhere about. He would probably get himself in a bit, lose himself a bit of timber and get himself healthier. I don't want to see anybody being unhealthy, and he comes across as a genuine family guy, which
yeah,
I like that. But and he's quite jovial, and he's obviously got a bit of a following, and he's good at promoting his son, who,
yes,
to be
yeah.
honest, he's probably a limited heavyweight, and he's probably found his level in this, but he's got a big following and he sells tickets and that, so I quite like him, but he does have he is limited to an extent, I would say, but he's obviously putting.
Oh, yes. I had Max Jenkins, the British professional heavyweight, on this morning, and we were talking about Johnny Fisher. You know, like it's possible that Johnny Fisher could possibly even get to British level. But he's a good, solid fighter. He's not a world class boxer. I mean, I wouldn't put him in with David Adelaide.
No.
Solomon Dakras, maybe. Um, like someone like a Fabio Wardley, I think would destroy him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, and I'm not sure if he's going to get through Dave Allen. If Dave Allen um, does a proper training camp, is disciplined, and fights the right fight,
yeah,
I think Dave Allen will see Johnny Fisher off.
yeah,
Um, so long as it doesn't go to the cards. I've lost so much confidence recently in the judging decisions that are coming out that I'd like to see Dave Allen stop Johnny Fisher personally. I mean, nothing
yeah,
against Johnny Fisher. He seems like a very likable kid.
yeah.
But I'd like to see Dave Allen win this fight, and I think he should be able to win this fight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Dave Allen's got a lot of experience, not only in fighting, but he's sparred all the top guys, and he does whack quite hard, I believe. And I mean, the only thing I can say in Johnny Fisher's favour from the first fight, he did suffer a near injury, I believe. I wondered how much that hampered him, with his balance going on. But fair play
Hello,
to
you
him for,
frozen
for
there.
fair play to him for lasting the distance in the fight. But I think I
Hello?
definitely, yeah, are you still there? Can you hear me? Oh, your screen's frozen, Bob. Um, hello, hello. Got a technical problem here, I think. Internet connection is unstable. You there? You back in the
I'm
room?
I'm I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep. Something came up about internet connection being unstable. You seem to freeze, and then I can hear you.
Yeah, yeah, same here. Well, I don't know if you can edit that out or just let it
uh,
roll anyhow.
I'll probably just
People
let it.
watching it, people
It's
watching it will think we had a seizure or
just
something.
a blip.
So, yeah.
Just looks like you're trying to hypnotize me. What I was
Well,
saying was, I wonder how much impact the damaged eardrum or whatever it was that Johnny Fisher had during the fight. It seemed to affect his balance, but he did well to last
yeah,
that out because he took some punishment But I think if Dave Allen had been fitter, which I expect him to be in this fight, I think he's got a bigger mountain to climb if he's got a really fit Dave Allen. But I would expect Dave Allen to stop him late on, maybe.
I, I I would think so. The ear injury is definitely something to take into account.
Mhm.
I think it was during the second round. So the damaged ear and Dave Allen's lack of fitness, they might actually cancel each other
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Um, I would expect both fighters to be better this time, and it could be a better fight.
yeah,
Um, you know, if Johnny Fisher loses, then I hope that he doesn't suffer, a lot of criticism because
yeah,
I don't like it when a fighter loses and then they get sort of shat on by everybody.
yeah,
I think a loss is a loss. I mean, um, it's how you overcome the loss and how you rebuild and how you get back. I think that's the important thing. Um, and like look at Chisora. Like Chisora's had 13 losses.
yeah. And a lot of
It's
them have
it's
been quite narrow, haven't they? They've been close decisions, or some of the ones
sure.
he's won have been quite close decisions. But yeah, he's it's not deterred him anyway. But I think he's somebody that's really mentally strong, Chisora, isn't he? So I hope
Yeah.
Johnny Fisher can show similar resilience going forward in his career. But
And
I think Dave Allen gave a lot of rounds away early on. He wasn't doing much in the first few rounds, was he, Dave Allen? I think if he
no.
stamped a bit of authority earlier on, might have might have helped his cause a bit, you know.
Yeah, it was a fight of two halves. Like I pretty much had the first half for Johnny Fisher,
Yeah,
and I had the second half for Dave Allen. And
yeah,
it was the 10-8 round for me that really made the difference.
that swung it.
Um, I think I had money on Johnny Fisher, so I was kind of like I was mostly neutral, like emotionally I was neutral, but I
Yeah,
put a few bucks on Johnny Fisher, but it was clearly a Dave Allen win. Um,
I put a bet
just
on. I think I might have put a pound on a draw, and I think I put a pound or £2 on Dave Allen to stop him late
right.
on, but because I didn't expect Dave Allen to get a decision. Well, I had that fear because of what we've come to recognise as incompetent judging, or you don't want to say dodgy judging, but the suspicion, you kind of naturally take that suspicion when you see some of the decisions. I mean, when I can't remember what fight it was recently, but two judges were 9 rounds out from each other, you know,
Yeah,
which is totally.
yeah. I mean, it was the Adames and Shiraz fight.
That's right, yeah,
Um, and it seems that there's a degree of favoritism, like an A side bias.
yeah,
Uh, and that's really damaging for boxing because, you know, like a hardcore fan is always going to stay with the sport. But a casual fan who pays for a pay-per-view or attends an event or goes to a sports bar, if like they've got eyes and they can see something, and if the decision is wonky or just a blatant sort of bad decision, people just say, "Well, forget that." Like
yeah,
it's fixed. It's like
yeah.
the WWE wrestling, and people don't
Right.
want to go to it, right?
That's it. That's why I like
So
boxing because it's real and it should be real. And
yeah,
I never really mind who wins. There's some fighters that I'm a fan of, but I don't really mind who wins as long as it's a fair result and a good fair fight and no controversy because controversy is bad for the sport.
it is bad for the sport, and we can look at historical decisions that are essentially really difficult to understand. And it causes people to argue for, in some cases, generations, right?
Yeah,
Um, like there's always going to be tight decisions. I get that. And like if I'm judging a fight, I tend to award more points for the more aggressive fighter. Like I'm not like a super technical judge. I like to award, they call it like Brooklyn scoring. I'll always
yeah,
be favoring the fighter that's a come forward, aggressive fighter. I like to see that kind of fight. as you know, I'm just a fan. I'm not a technical boxing expert at all. I'm just a
Yeah,
fan that's seen thousands of fights probably over the years.
yeah. I'm the same. I'm just a fan. I'm no expert, but uh, like like backsides opinions. Everybody's got one, haven't they? It's just like
That's
backside.
right. Yeah,
But
yeah.
you're always going to get the occasional draw as well. Um, but I mean, there was a fight. It was a fight on the. I was just thinking about a minute ago there. It was no. What I was thinking about was Better BF Bivol, the first fight. For me, Better
Yeah,
BF was controlling the ring centre, and he was the guy kind of forcing the fight. I kind of go with that as well. I
yeah.
kind of, if it's a close round, I would lean towards the guy that's like controlling the fight and
Yeah.
taking the ring set. A bit like Usyk. I mean, Usyk's control. He controlled all the, like both Fury fights and both Joshua fights.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. Um, and in particular, like with the first Joshua fight, that was sort
oh
of
yeah,
maybe Usyk's finest moment. I thought Joshua did a bit better in the second fight, but you know,
it was never
not.
a split decision though, was it? That was a good.
Oh, no, 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 no. And the first Fury fights, well, I had Usyk winning two fights in one there. I
Yeah,
had I had Usyk stopping Fury in the ninth round and then winning it on points. So
that's what my pal Frank said when we were watching it. He says he's beat him twice there. He's knocked him out and beat him on points in the one fight.
you know, I can't remember if we've talked about this on camera before, but there's one thing, you know, in the ninth round when the referee moves in to stop
Oh,
Usyk delivering that last punch, my mind always thinks that Usyk is such a good sportsman because uh,
yeah,
Sonny Liston, Marciano, Foreman, Lyle, Shavers, Holmes, Frazier, they're not stopping.
none of them would have backed
That
off, would
last
they?
one is going in.
That's it.
And you know, if you look, for example, at Foreman and Norton, you know,
Oh,
Foreman is a bull. He needs to put chains around him and pull him back.
I
You know, so
think he even caught him another one when he was down, didn't he? Just
yeah.
before he walked away.
So so any one of those fighters and Fury's finished, and
Yeah,
you couldn't blame them because it would be in the heat of the moment, right?
yeah,
It wouldn't
yeah,
be, yeah. So
yeah.
Usyk is a real gentleman, and it might come back to bite him, you know,
Yeah.
one day. I know he's only got a couple of fights left, but I hope if he has Daniel Dubois in that situation, that he just finishes the deal. You
I
know,
think
you
he
don't
will.
get paid overtime.
I think he's got a bit of spite against Dubois after, when he came and crashed the party. I can see something in Usyk's eye when he was
Yeah,
like, make the fight. He's basically telling Turkey to make the fight, wasn't he? And I've seen him since saying, I want to fight Dubois, so be undisputed again.
yeah.
But I think he's got a bee in his bonnet about all this bad feeling from not necessarily just Dubois, but Bricktop and that. Still going on about this low blow, or try to say it's not a low blow. And it was clearly to me a low blow. But when he initially
Well,
landed it, I didn't. I thought he's going down. I thought it was a body shot. But when I saw it from another angle, he punched him in the bladder. So it doesn't have to be the crown jewels to be a low blow. It has to be below the navel, and that clearly was below the navel when you saw any of the replays of it.
I thought it was a low blow.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, it's not. It doesn't matter what I think. The referee is the king in the ring. The referee says it's a low blow. What should have happened is after Usyk had his break, his 5 minutes. He didn't take 5 minutes. He took three
Yeah,
minutes and change, I think.
yeah,
But Dubois should have been all over him.
yeah,
But Dubois wasn't. It was like Dubois gave up. And
yeah.
again, that's to me, that's not the mark of a champion.
No,
You imagine, you know, Lennox Lewis or Riddick Bowe or Holyfield, they would have been,
wow.
they would have smelt like blood in the water. The guy's down. He's had an extra few minutes. I'm going to go and kill him now. And Dubois sort of gave up.
Or somebody like Merciless Ray Mercer, he wouldn't back off, would he? He was quite a fearsome finisher, Mercer. Eh? Did
Very
you ever watch his,
much.
did you ever watch his fight with Lennox Lewis? That was a cracking fight.
Yeah, it's a
I think
great fight.
it's quite a small ring as well, and it was only I think it was a 10 round fight, wasn't it? But it was quite a ferocious fight, and you can make a case for that being a draw or even a could have had Mercer win
Yes.
another round, depending on how you looked at it. But
Yes.
I remember Manny Stewart telling Lewis in the corner, get a grip of things. This is only 10 rounds. He says, he was emphasising you don't have another few rounds to claw back any deficit in points. But he got it. He scraped it, Lewis. But that would have been a good rematch. But I don't think
Yes.
that's ever going to happen. But Mercer was in good shape for that fight. He didn't always come in brilliant shape, did he? But he was up for that one, wasn't
Yeah, he was very much up for that one. But going back to Dubois coming into the ring against Usyk, I'm not really blaming Dubois because honestly, I don't think that. I think somebody sort of wound up Dubois and sent
he?
him
Oh
up
yeah.
there to say this. But you imagine if that had been a Lennox Lewis or a Riddick Bowe or a Mike Tyson, they've just won the heavyweight champion or retained the heavyweight championship of the world, and somebody is like that in their face,
Yeah.
that would have kicked off
Yeah.
right there and then. Again, Usyk, like just a professional sportsman. Because
Yeah.
I don't think, I'm a big Lennox Lewis fan, and I don't think Lennox Lewis would have tolerated that if he'd,
No.
just finished a fight.
No.
He wouldn't
No.
have, and he might have shoved the microphone up Ade Odolipo's ass as well, asking about what do you think of the scorecards.
There's him up there, Lennox Lewis. He's on my wall.
Yeah, it's great, great
Great
fighter.
champion. Great champion.
He's definitely in my top 5 my lifetime. I'm not quite sure where I put him, but he's a great fighter. Beat everybody he ever faced.
Yeah.
So excellent fighter.
He's a modern great. I think Adi Oladipo, I think he let himself down in that moment as well. And he was kept questioning Usyk about the decision as well, wasn't he? I'm sure he was
Yeah,
questioning the decision, which is
it's the first.
shocking. Usyk's been on the wrong end of disrespect from both the media and other promoters and fighters alike.
Oh yeah.
Wrong. It's just terrible.
If Usyk had been British or American, he would have been afforded a lot more respect, in
Yeah.
my opinion. I mean, Deontay Wilder was afforded a lot of respect, and
Yeah.
Usyk is leagues above where Deontay Wilder was.
10 times the fighter, isn't he?
No, almost their names shouldn't be really mentioned in the same sentence, and I don't mean that as a disrespect to Deontay Wilder.
Yeah.
It's just that Alexander Usyk is he's a generational great in my view.
Yep. No, I second that, Bob. Definitely, yeah. He's a modern great, and he'll be. I hope he's remembered. Well, Lennox Lewis wasn't really appreciated as he should have been at the time. I seem to remember,
Yeah.
but he's looking back on his career. He's definitely been received plaudits that he should have done at the time. There was a lot of disrespect towards him at the time. I seem to remember it. Not as bad as what Usyk's receiving. I would probably say, but no, Usyk. He's an unbelievable fighter, especially the size deficit he gives away as well. He's always.
He gave away 55 pounds against, or at least 50 pounds. I think it was 55 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just an incredible amount of weight. That's over 3 stone, right?
Yeah, it's mad. It's almost 4 stone, I think, isn't it? Yeah, it was almost 4 stone. And the second fight against Fury, yeah.
I'm ashamed to admit it. I've forgotten exactly how to calculate in stones. I used to know it off by heart, and I've forgotten. Like, it's 14 pounds in a stone, right?
Stone,
28. 4 stone would then be 56, right? Yeah, almost 4 stone. Yeah.
Yeah. But I was actually thinking the other day when people were criticising the shape that Martin Bakole was in. Was Fury in much better shape when he fought Usyk the second time? Didn't he look much better shape, did he? He obviously was fitter, but and he'd had a training camp which Bakole hadn't. But to have had a training camp and come in what looked like bad shape is a bit question marks there.
But one of the things that we've seen now, it used to be that a heavyweight champion of the world, and I'm talking of like sort of fairly modern. I'm not going back to the 50s or the 60s, but somewhere from say 215 all the way up to 250 as a kind of bookends is
Yeah,
where you'd expect to see your heavyweight champion of the world, right?
yeah,
And 225 was a very, very good weight. You were 6'3", 225 was almost like your perfect heavyweight champion of the world. And we're seeing people coming in now at, you know, 280.
300 pounds or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, that's 20 stone.
yeah.
Like, that's almost like, remember the old British wrestler, Big Daddy and Giant Haystacks? I mean, those kind of weights. And I hope that we'll see a regression from that. I
Yeah,
like to see a somewhat leaner heavyweight with better legs, to be honest with you. Um, and maybe with the rise of people like Moses Atoma, Daniel Dubois,
yeah.
that we will see a move away from these really very heavy fighters. And I'm not sure if that additional weight helps them with punching power, or to be honest, with punch resistance. I just don't
Yeah.
know. I'm not really seeing it.
Could be more a hindrance than a help.
Certainly in the latter half of the fight, like obviously you look at a guy like Zhilei Zhang. I mean, you wonder if he had lost, say, 25 pounds or 28 pounds, 2 stone, would he have a better gas tank? I mean, it's hard to
Mm.
argue against it, right?
Yeah, I've got to say that. Yeah, it's you carrying all that. If you carry all that extra weight about, I don't see the positive effect. I mean, Fury had all that extra weight, didn't make any difference. Did it? Usyk could neutralize whatever he did, whatever weight he had.
Yeah.
He was unable to push Usyk about. I think he's phenomenally strong for the size of him. And I think you only have to watch his training to realize his core strength and just general strength must be phenomenal. Because I've not seen anybody manhandle him about really.
No, but
Maybe Chisora
again,
did try to do it a wee bit, but that was probably only a second fight at heavyweight, wasn't it? But
yeah, it was his second, yeah.
yeah,
But again, he's 225 pounds, or thereabouts, or 230, and he's 6'3". So he's not a small man,
no,
and he's a man with a lot of core strength, and he knows how to move. He knows how to move his
yeah,
body. So yeah, he's not being like. He's roughly the same size that Muhammad Ali was. He's not much smaller than George Foreman was in the early 1970s.
yeah,
So it just looks smaller compared to the really tall and very heavy Tyson Fury.
yeah. And I think he shares Muhammad Ali's birthday. So is
January
he
17th. Yeah.
is he channeling the greatest through his? Who
You
knows?
know, it's a great story.
It's a theory, isn't it?
It's a great story. Yeah. Tell me if I know you've been busy all day, but have you had a chance to look at the WBC ratings in particular? I don't know if you know, but Lawrence Okoli is the number one contender.
Yeah, I find that intriguing. If you compare all I think we talked earlier, didn't we? If you compare all the governing bodies, why are they so different as well? Why are they all seeing things in such a different light, which is bizarre. I mean, you've got Michael Hunter at number 2 in the WBA rankings. Yeah, he's nowhere to be seen in the IBF. He's nowhere to be seen in WBC, and he's nowhere to be seen. And that's the top 15 in the WBO. So how can you be at number 2 in one governing body and no be anywhere in the other ones? I find that
Well,
bizarre.
it kind of, to my mind, I did a video on this morning, and I also talked to Max about it when he was my guest, and so it was good to get a real boxer talking about this rather than just an armchair fan.
Maximus
It does,
Hercules, I think is his
that's
boxing
right.
name.
Yeah, yeah. Very nice fellow. We
Yeah, he's
spoke for literally 2 minutes, and I said, "Oh, anytime you want to come on the channel, let me know." And he said, "Oh, what are you doing now?" And I'm like, "Okay, 15 minutes." I literally went to brush my teeth and I had a quick shower and I got back in front of the camera.
He's a good guy, Max, but he needs to stop calling me a sweaty sock. That's offensive, Max. I don't call you names. He's on the
I'll
chat
let
now, though, isn't he? He's on the chat.
I'll let you two guys sort that out. I'm not going to get between you guys on that one.
Right,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I've pulled up the ratings here. Like the WBC, you've got Lawrence Okoli #1, Anthony Joshua #2, and I'm sorry, like I like Anthony Joshua, no disrespect. I'm not sure that he's #2.
no.
Fabio Wardley is #3, and I am a big cheerleader for Fabio Wardley.
Yeah,
I like his style, but to be perfectly honest, and no disrespect, he's not actually fought anybody of like world level yet, has he?
no. He's probably his best wins are over Fraser Clark. He has beaten
Yeah.
some decent British guys, but I can see the potential in him, and he's every time he's stepped up, he's been the underdog,
Yeah.
and yet he's answered all the questions. I have heard stories about him that he used to turn up on his own for like street fights or something like that. I'm sure I can't
Oh,
remember where I heard that. Maybe somebody in the comments will go tell us if that's correct. But I think it might have been Terry Chapandama on Porky's Corner that
oh,
said he would turn up himself for street fight and win them. I don't know if it was bare knuckle
yeah,
fight or
yeah.
what was going on, or if it was unlicensed stuff. Uh, but he wouldn't turn up with a team of guys. He'd turn up himself. So he is a proper hard man as far as I'm led to
I,
believe.
I like him. I'm a big fan of
Yeah,
his, but again, it's hard to see how he would be #3. And then if we
yeah,
look at the WBA, he's #1 in the WBA, and Michael Hunter #2.
yeah,
Michael Hunter's last decent win was what? Bacoli in 2018?
yeah,
And then Moses Atoma, #3. Well, I think Moses is going to be great. He's got a lot
yeah,
of talent, but Dempsey McKean is his best win.
yeah. There seems to be no
So,
logic to any of these rankings that I can
no,
see.
I can't see this at all. And, you know, I mean, I understand why it is. Like, I understand that Lawrence Okoli is given a high rating because he used to be a Bridgerweight champion. And I understand roughly how the sanctioning bodies work. But I'm thinking if I just took these names to my local sports bar, the guys in the sports bar are going to look at this and say, "What are you telling me?
Yeah,
Who's the best?
yeah.
Who are these guys?"
And I wonder what governing body has the most, what we would call accurate, what the closest to what we would agree with. It's difficult to know, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I could sit down over a pint and with a pencil and a
Yeah,
wet beer mat, and we could probably scratch out 10 guys that
yeah,
would make more sense to us based on who they fought and like let Usyk, Dubois, Parker, Kabayel. There's four.
yeah,
It's hard to argue with that top four. You could
yeah,
argue maybe, one slightly better than the other, but
yeah.
I'm not seeing those names on here.
What you've really got to do, I think, is you shut down all the governing bodies and recognise the Ring magazine one belt, and I'd be all for that personally, yeah, because
I,
and then you get one that are not aligned to any governing body because all the guys are pumping the guy and any like eliminators. There's all sanctioning fees in the fights, I believe. So
yeah.
and it's just milking the situation, really, isn't it? Which is
Well,
wrong.
when I was a teenager, right, in the '70s, everybody knew who the heavyweight champion of the world was, and
Yeah,
everybody knew who the top one or two contenders were.
yeah,
Even my mom knew, right? It's not like it's not like my mom was a massive boxing fan. Like my
yeah,
mom knew who's the heavyweight champion of the world. She would
yeah,
say, "Oh, Cassius Clay," and then she would correct herself and say Muhammad Ali.
yeah,
Like people just knew.
yeah.
Um,
Because He was bigger than boxing.
Maybe.
Muhammad Ali. He was just transcended everything,
Oh
didn't he?
yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah, absolutely. Um, he and Pele were the two who really, were world figures. So they were,
yeah,
everybody knew who Pele was, right? Um, but the concept of the Ring magazine belt being the only belt, I mean, that's something that like Dana White and Turkey Al Sheikh, they're looking towards that, aren't they? Where they
yeah.
and I read somewhere today, I can't remember where, that Dana White is also maybe looking to reduce the number of divisions
All
because we've
right.
got 18 or 19, I guess, if you consider the Bridgerweight
Yeah.
divisions. And it would make a lot of sense to go back to,
Was it 11 or
I mean,
something like that?
I think at one time it might have been eight at one
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I'm prepared to be corrected on that. Like I, but like let's bring some rationalization to it,
yeah.
and
I don't
yeah,
know how. I
and
don't personally. I don't watch a lot of MMA stuff, so I'm not aware of how many divisions there are in
I don't know
UFC or
either.
anything like that. Yeah,
I I rarely watch MMA. Only the big, like a big one.
yeah,
I'll watch it, and because I just like to see combat sports.
yeah,
But yeah, it'd be interesting. I'm not a nobody would ever say I was a fan of Dana White or of Turkey Al Sheikh. Of course, I mean I don't know either of them, but I
yeah,
just am not like. But it might well be that this new thing that they're talking about could have some real positives. I can see the negatives, and I'm trying to be neutral on this and take like a wait
yeah,
and see attitude. What do you think?
yeah. I mean that's what I've done. When Turkey Al Sheikh first came on the scene, I was a bit skeptical of what was going to happen, but he's proven his worth, I think, and he's made big fights that I don't think would have happened because all these Bricktop and Eddie Hills posturing against each other. And then you've got likes of IFL TV playing them off against each other. Oh, he said this, he said that, and all this back and forth. And Frank Warren turning into an incredible raging man and incredible exploding man. And he's like, you need to calm down. Somebody his age, you shouldn't. He shouldn't be anybody any age raging like that. It's no good for you. But and then
Oh,
Eddie Hills was smarminess on site, and all this nonsense. If if Turkey Al Sheikh hadn't come on the scene with his big wad of cash, these fights wouldn't be happening, and you wouldn't be getting these big bills with like 5 or 6 mega fights. And so I like what he's done so far. So we'll watch going forward, and see where it takes us.
I don't think we would have seen Fury Usyk. I don't think
So
we would have seen Beterbiev and Bivol, and I don't think we would have had these big cards.
that's a 2 minute warning,
So,
Bob. 2 minute warning.
oh, okay, we should probably cut her off there. We've got so much to talk about, but thanks for having me on, and
We can do another
really,
one. We can do another one maybe in a few days or something. I'll try and fit something in.
absolutely, yeah. I'll
And
host you on mine, and but
yeah,
yeah, thanks for having me on. Great chatting. What's it like midnight with you?
it's 12:15. And everybody out there,
Oh,
subscribe to Canada's Boxing Channel for some fantastic content, especially on historic stuff and current stuff. So,
and
and
subscribe also to Andy's Cavern.
Andy's Cavern. And like and subscribe. And if you don't like what we're doing, but if you do like what we're doing, tell the world.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, man.
Hey, Bob, thanks for coming on.
Oh, for sure. Anytime, buddy. Great
Good
talking
man.
to you as always.
All the best.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye
Good night.
bye.
There we go. Till the next time.